I'm going to tell you about Artemis. This is a book I read a couple weeks ago, finished it last week, and it is by Andy Weir. Do you guys remember The Martian? Here, I think I have it right here. The Martian by Andy Weir. Well, this, Artemis, is his next book. I think this angle is a little bit weird, but that's okay. We like weird here, right? Weird is cool, isn't it? Or at least that's what I'm going with. We're gonna say weird is cool for the day. So Artemis takes place in a city on the moon. The main character's name is Jazzy, and she is a smuggler. Her main job is to smuggle contraband into this city on the moon. And she ends up involved in a whole bunch of illegal stuff and in this whole crazy conspiracy, and everything goes wrong and all the characters get themselves into so much trouble. This book is such an adventure, and I loved it when I read it. It was so much fun. So the main character of this book, her name is Jazzy. She's really smart. Jazzy is like brilliantly smart. But at the same time, she's kind of an idiot. And it was really interesting because like you got the, oh wow, she's really smart like with math and like with figuring things out. But at the same time, I'm like, wow, that's what you chose to do? Like, wow, you're an idiot. Why are you doing that, Jazzy? Like, oh my God, you're getting into so much trouble. Everybody's getting into so much trouble. Things are obviously gonna go wrong. And like, I don't know, she just made so many bad choices throughout this book. But like, I don't know, I think maybe the situation called for some bad choices, and I don't think that there really was a good choices. Like, there wasn't really a good option for her after this book got going, and some of the conspiracies and some of the things that started happening. There wasn't really a good option or a good choice, but like, some of the things she chose to do, I was just like, oh my God, Jazzy girl, Jazzy, like, what are you doing? So Jazzy is a super fun character to read from. I pictured her with a mohawk. I don't know if she actually has a mohawk or not. It didn't seem like she did, based on like her description. Mohawk just fits her personality so much that like, it just worked in my imagination. So if anybody turns Artemis into a movie like The Martian, please give Jazzy a mohawk. You guys know the trope of like, I'm not like other girls, where like the main character's a girl and she's just not like other girls, and she's just different somehow, but then she kind of really is like other girls, and like, blah, I don't know. Like, that trope just kind of gets on my nerves a lot of times, and Jazzy kind of has that I'm not like other girls thing going on. However, in this book, it actually worked. For this character, I was like, yeah, girl, I can tell you're not like other girls. You're a smuggler on the moon. So the city of Artemis itself is a city on the moon, and just the setting was so cool. Like, it was really, really believable that you were on the moon, you were in the city on the moon. And it was a really interesting place to be. And Andy Weir created this whole city with all the science behind it and all the technology behind it. And like, you actually believe that it really existed. Check this out. Like, the front of the book, you have a map of the city on the moon. Like, this is like the city of Artemis. And there's all these different bubbles. And like, all these different bubbles like have a different different types of people live there, and like some are like just tourist bubbles and some are like worker bubbles. And it was just the way the whole city was set up was super believable. Like, oh yeah, this is a real functioning city. Like, Andy Weir obviously put a lot of thought into designing the city of Artemis. So not only did this story take place in the city of Artemis itself, the characters also did EVAs out onto the moon. And that was also really fun, just to see how they survived out there, and to like, they would have to take trips out there to like find things and do things. And one character, or at the beginning, Jazzy has to take a test out on the moon's surface. And that's kind of like the opening of the novel, and it was just so interesting to read about how this would actually work, like living on the moon, having to go outside sometimes, having to go on EVAs, and like the suit, and like how it all worked together. And Andy Weir is like really, really good at those details, and he's really, really good at those sciencey details that just make the environment come to life and make you feel like you're actually there, like breathing in the moon dust. You know, it was just, everything was really well described. As far as the writing style goes, those of you that read The Martian, do you remember, like, it was very science-y. Like, there's all these science-y details and science babbling, and the main character was coming up with scientific solutions and unique and interesting scientific solutions for everything. Well, that's the exact same thing for Artemis. It had the exact same level of science, figuring things out using science. In The Martian, I felt like I understood most of the science babble in the book. It was written in a way where I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I understand how that would be a thing, you know, even if I didn't completely understand all of it. But there were times in Artemis where I was just like, I have no idea what's happening or what gases are combining with what and what they're going to do, and I'm confused. So that would be my only complaint with the sciencey, with all the sciencey stuff going on in Artemis, was it was a little bit confusing and not as easy to understand as it was in The Martian. So the whole plot line of Artemis is obviously super interesting because it takes place on the moon with a whole bunch of illegal activity and smuggling and sabotage and conspiracies. And since our main character is a smuggler, she is involved in a whole bunch of illegal stuff, and then everything just blows up in her face. And it's really, really intense and really interesting, and you really feel for the characters, and you really want them to succeed, and you want everything to be okay, and you want everything to work out. But you don't see how it's going to work out. And it keeps you on the edge of your seat, combined with just like a really new and interesting location. Like the whole plot line just keeps you on your toes, keeps you reading, keeps you really engaged. I had a really good time reading this. My only complaint about the plot line is it got really, really overly dramatic towards the end of the book. But of course, like if you think about it, The Martian kind of got overly dramatic near the end of the book as well. So maybe that's just Andy Weir's writing style. But it seemed like it got unnecessarily overly dramatic near the end, like to the point of where I kind of felt like I wanted to disengage a little bit because it was a little bit unbelievable, like just the drama that ensued. And it was just like, oh, really? This is what's happening? Oh wow, how is this gonna get fixed in like the next 10 pages? Oh, that was easy to fix. Like, you know? Oh, we have a cat. We have a cat butt in the shot. Hi, baby. Oh boy. Oh boy. I loved this book. I would recommend it to anybody who loves science fiction, anybody who loves outer space. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!